Okay, we're starting the debate for supervisor of elections, and I see we have a couple of people that are no-shows. Ms. McFall told me that she was busy with election stuff on a Saturday, and it was very difficult for her to make it out, and she made that clear to me ahead of time. So Ms. Blake said that she would be here, and I don't know what happened with her either. So with that said, we'll start the supervisor of elections. Teresa, could you please introduce yourself to the audience?
Sure. I'm Teresa Apgar. I've lived in DeLand since 1974, so I've seen both this side of the county and the other side of the county grow. I'm married to Bob. He's the mayor of DeLand, and I get to sleep with him every night. You've heard this before, I can tell. We have 3 children. 7 grandchildren. We just had another one born. My favorite grandchild is Isaac over here because he was the first. And if you don't have grandchildren but will down the road, it's the greatest gift God can give to you. Let's see what else. I have been an active volunteer in the DeLand area and in West Volusia. I have devoted my life to making our community better. I am a 30-year Women's Club member. I've been president of many organizations such as the House Next Door, Main Street DeLand. So I'm a proven leader for the last 30 years. Okay.
Mr. Kelly, please, a brief intro on who you are and why you're here.
Thank you, Mr. Frederick, and thank you for the opportunity to be here for the debate.
Welcome.
I'm Andy Kelly, and I'm running for the Supervisor of Elections. I'm currently a Volusia County Councilman for District 1, which is the west-northwest side of Volusia County. I'm a lifelong Volusian, very proud and happy to be representing 4 generations of Volusia County residents, as well as family members, as well as 7 generations in Florida. Proud father of 6, proud grandfather of 2, and in my years in the County Council, I have done everything I can to preserve and protect our natural resources and everything that we love about our county, Volusia County. I was raised an accounting family, and that's what I do.
And that's very brief. Thank you.
Thank you.
So let's get right into it. Mr. Kelly, you are not term limited in your county council seat, is that correct?
That's correct.
So why make the move now?
Our current supervisor announced their retirement last April. And
Mrs. McFall.
Ms. McFall announced her retirement that would be effective December 31st of this year, April 2011. And I thought about it long and hard, and I actually had been asked before, because of my background as an accountant, paying attention to every minute detail, and of course, being on top of ever-changing rules and regulations. But I saw that there was a hole in Volusia County. I was asked to run for state office and was told I'd be heavily financed, but I said no. I felt that my duty is, like I said, to do everything I can right here. So I started learning about being a supervisor, and for the past 15.5 months I have talked to supervisors around the state of Florida. I've talked to voters and I've listened to them, and once you join the race, I'm dedicated to making our election department the best it can be.
Let me ask you this. When Ann McFall decided she wasn't going to run again, Pat Northey, a colleague on the county council, stepped in. When McFall decided otherwise, it created like a domino effect where she went back to her seat, but you didn't go back. You stayed the course, and your wife is now going to try for your seat.
And
And that's Missy Kelly.
Missy Kelly, thank you. And she's running for County Council District 1. And you're right, because what happened is through the 14.5 months, actually for 12 months, I was running without Ms. McFall as a candidate or as an opponent. And I found that there are so many things that other supervisors, other Department of Elections throughout the state have put into place. They have best management practices, and they've embraced modern technology, and that's what I'm about. And that's
we'll get into that in a few minutes.
That's why I didn't back off.
Right.
I see
you
the
stayed
need.
the course.
I see the need to fill the hole.
Mrs. Apgar,
Yes.
you obviously wanted this. You were in this to win it too.
Yes, I was.
You stayed too. against a very well-known incumbent.
Right. Well, there's a story behind that.
Oh, let's hear it, briefly.
I met with Ann to go over the packet, and she assured me she was not going to run. And then when I went to bring my papers back, stuck my head in and said, not going to run, and she said yes. Then my husband started hearing rumors about her getting back into the race. Northey, when I qualified, Northey dropped out. So when I start hearing these rumors, I'm the type to call up the person and find out, which I did. And she said that I wasn't doing a good enough job. I don't think it's a supervisor's job to make that decision. But then she went further and said, I don't think you can beat Andy Kelly.
All right, we'll pick that up in another direction.
Okay.
Mr. Kelly, Mrs. McFall has historically generated large voter numbers, especially when she first came in. And yes, you're experienced too, and you have name recognition, but what do you have to do to show the voters that it's time for you to come in and for her to go?
Well, I think that, unfortunately, in my opinion, for the past 7.5 years, our Department of Elections, which is a fantastic department, we have a great staff there, but unfortunately they have been stuck in time. And it's not
what
that...
do you mean stuck in time?
Well, the changes that have been made have been those changes that have been mandated by the state, or those changes that have been referred to by federal government. The statewide voter database was a mandate. Having electronic access to be able to track your absentee ballot is a state initiative, and being able to go online and fill out your application, all those things are state things, and just to bring them in and say that I created them is bringing us into the 21st century is not. What we don't have is more important. Those are the holes that I want to fill, is what we don't have. And we have so much. We're not communicating with our voters. We have voters who are young. We have voters who are middle-aged. We have smartphone, technical age. We can Twitter and text, and we have a lot of people who like to know what's going on and communicate with the elections department, and that has not been happening. As a matter of fact, the communication director position was dropped, as well as the educational requirements for the education outreach director was reduced significantly. And I need to tell you that a member of my campaign worked in the elections department, and she was the only one. She was one of the top 3. She was a deputy there, and she was one of the top 3, and she has joined our campaign because she has seen that we have the tools in the toolbox in the Kelly team to do the job.
All right, Mrs. Apgar and Mrs. McFall isn't here. It's a Saturday. She says that it's a tough time. She's got a lot of responsibilities.
Yes, that's what I understand. Yeah.
Is that,
I've heard that, yes.
Is that,
yeah.
Would you understand that she would be in that position so close to early voting? I mean, I'm not going to make excuses for or criticize. That's, just
well, I don't
you.
think politics should be in the election office. You have to be nonpartisan, fair, and all those other descriptions of having integrity and honesty.
Well, how is she not being fair by not being here in terms of the office?
She has chosen to not get in it till later, is what I understand. But let's not talk about Ann. Let's talk about the people who are here. What do you think?
Well, that's fine, but the point I'm trying to make is that you have to convince the voters.
Yes.
One of you has to, all 3 of you can't get in the runoff.
Yes.
And are you 2 going to go over her? Or is one of you going to make it, one of you isn't?
Unfortunately, at this level, we don't do polling, so don't know. I've been walking the streets, contacting everybody, even in the lines at convenience stores.
Strong reception, people are understanding?
Yes, yes.
What are they telling you?
They're glad I came to their door and asked them to vote. Everyone I've gone to unusual places, Walmart, and I don't accost the customers, but I do ask, Can I tell them something? If I'm in a restaurant eating, I go up to the couples that are there and ask, do they mind if I disturb them? And so it has to be, I believe I'm doing enough to win. The voters will decide.
Andy?
I have no problem answering that, because it's strange that she has enough time to show up on radio shows as a candidate, and there's a 30-day window right now that she's actually a candidate. And her job position has been rather light, and it will become even lighter, because as a candidate, she has to remove herself in most of the roles as being the supervisor of elections, especially in such a hotly contested race. And one would think that if I was a supervisor, I would be here in debate for the opportunity, for a fair opportunity for everybody to hear everybody's viewpoint, and so that we actually could discuss the issues. But without her present, it's hard to discuss the issues because we're not getting the answers.
One of the other candidates is here. I just wanted to tell you.
Okay. Sally, you ready? Okay. Ms. Blanks, I'm going to give you a minute or two to introduce yourself, and not get into the specifics of the campaign, but just who you are to the public.
Sure. Good afternoon. I'm Beaulah Blanks. I'm an attorney who lives in DeLand, Florida. I've lived here approximately 16 years. I'm married to Dr. Terry Blanks, who's a dentist in DeLand, Florida. Prior to becoming an attorney, I was a college professor and administrator. I also served as a public school teacher. I worked also as a public policy researcher. In 2008, I was a volunteer election law attorney for the general election. And currently, I serve as a third-party voter registration agent for an organization under the new election law. I have a law degree from the Florida State University College of Law. I have a master's in public administration from Harvard University, the John F. Kennedy School of Government. I have a master's of public arts in African history from the University of Florida, and my bachelor's comes from Bethune-Cookman College, which was some time ago. So I do have some familiarity with Volusia County.
There, that's quite a resume. Ms. Blanks, you showed up, obviously you got lost in traffic.
Well, that's a good
coming
one.
from the other side of the county, but there's 4 people in this race. The incumbent isn't here. She informed me earlier that it's a very busy time, and she has to take care of what's going on in her office as we move closer to early voting and absentee ballots. Do you buy that?
Well, I really can't say what the situation is. I would have to talk to her firsthand, and then I would have to look at the calendar for the department to see just whether that would be an issue. But I would wonder if some of those things could be set aside for a short time to come and speak with the citizens in this area regarding a very important election. I consider this to be an important election, unlike previous years where it's been just routine. So I would think it would be important, but I won't say whether I agree or not. I need to have more information.
That's fair.